Hi Long Range Hunting. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, and this is going to be the first video in the series going through some of the BS that's out there. One thing I want to start off with, please excuse the weird sounds I'm making. It's from medicine for some health stuff, but it makes me do this, so don't worry about that. But first thing I want to talk about and clarify is marketing. Marketing is something that comes up all the time, and people take it literally. Please stop. Use a little common sense. They're trying to go after a certain demographic, let's say long-range hunting. Of course, they're going to say, oh, this is exactly what you need. You need to purchase this. They're trying to sell a product. Use some common sense. Seriously. Today what we're going to be talking about is calibers. And that's another one. It has a lot to do with marketing. And here's the point. Calibers are irrelevant. They all take, let's say the 6mm, all 6mm take the exact same bullet. If you go up to the 6.5s, all 6.5s, 6.5 Creedmoor PRC, they take the same bullet. If you go up to the 30 cals, 308, 30 on 6, 300 Win Mag, 300 PRC, all take the same bullet. If you go into a ballistics program and you go to input variables, the one thing you won't find there, caliber. Why? Because it's irrelevant. The magic happens, as they say, inside the barrel with that projectile. It doesn't matter if you launch it out of a 6 Creed or a 6 GT. If you're pushing the same bullet at the same velocity, you're going to have the exact same external ballistics, which is your flight path, your wind drift, everything. And you're going to have the exact same terminal ballistics. You're going to go transonic and subsonic at the exact same distance. It's completely the same. People get wound up on this is a better caliber, or this is, a 6.5 PRC blows the 6.5 Creed out of the water. Well, the only difference in calibers as far as their efficiency happens to be of how fast they can push that projectile, the more powder. So take a 308. I can push a 168 grain at, let's say, 2,700 feet per second. I can push the same thing out of a 300 Win Mag at 3,000 feet per second. Does it give me an edge? Yeah, a little bit. It gives me a little less wind, a little less drop. But in reality, how much is it? I went ahead and did the calculation. Now we're going to do comparisons here. And one of them is going to be a reduced 300 load running a 168 grain ELD match with matching a 308. Again, it's going to be the exact same trajectory, everything. And then we're going to run that 300 Win Mag taking the same bullet at 3,000 feet per second. So we're running them both at 2,700 feet per second, and then we're running at 3,000 feet per second with just the Win Mag with the same bullet to see the differences. And again, take a look at the charts. Muzzle velocity, 2,700 feet per second. We are going to be at around 1490 at 900 yards with both calibers. Now, if you want to match that on just the 300 pushing it faster, you're looking at 1100 yards. So what do you really gain? You're gaining 200 yards. That's really what you're doing. You're gaining that supersonic flight, which is going to extend it. So you're basically extending your range. For the same muzzle velocity, you're just extending it. You're going to get the same energy. You're just changing it from 900 to 1100. Let's look at actual wind drift. So if we are at 1100 yards and we are comparing the 308 at 2,700 feet per second and the 300 Win Mag, we are going to get 1.2 mils for a 5 mile an hour full value wind on 308 and a 1 mil hold with the 300 Win Mag pushing the same bullet out at 3,000 feet per second. So 300 feet per second more only got you 0.2 of wind saved. Again, not really what people expect. They think it's going to be this major. It cuts it directly in half. And if you doubt me, the charts are here. These are ran off an actual ballistics program. This is the actual calculations with the correct BC. So don't get too wrapped up. Does it give you a little bit extra wind? Yes. Does it give you a little flatter trajectory? Sure. Is it this massive thing? No. Now, everybody, one of the biggest ones is a 308 like this versus the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, they did a great marketing job of slamming the 308 on that, and I really disliked that. And it brought up a lot of BS because it's so much misinformation. Is the 6.5 Creedmoor shooting a more aerodynamic bullet that has a higher BC? Yes. Is it going to outperform the trajectory of the 308? Sure. It was designed to. You're comparing a cartridge 308 that's been around for 100 years and the bullets that it can push versus a gun that, or caliber and bullet that was designed specifically to beat the 308. So saying that it outperforms the 308, well, yeah, it was designed to. Is it half the wind? You know, I hear guys all the time, oh, I don't have to hold wind with a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's not a 308. That's an absolute load of crap. So, you know, again, does it perform better? Yes, but really, is it the case or the projectile? It's really a projectile. If you take the 308, you can see one is fat and short, and the other one is long and skinny. Now, you can't see it because it's going into the case, but 308 stops about there, 6.5 stops about there. So the 6.5, the bullet, it has a higher BC. It's going out around, it depends. You can go a little faster than what you can with the 308. But either way, it's a more aerodynamic bullet. It's getting less drag. It's not fat. It's not causing as much resistance. So it's going to fly better. So does it really make it better because it's a 6.5 Creedmoor or simply because it's a 6.5 millimeter bullet with a higher BC than the average 308 bullet pushed? It's the latter. It doesn't come down to caliber. It comes down to the bullet itself. You know, is another 6.5 going to outperform the 308 in ballistics? Sure. Is the 6 millimeters like a 6 Creedmoor or a 6 GT? Sure. But it has nothing to do with the cartridge itself. It has to do with the bullet being projected out. A perfect example of this is a buddy of mine, Justin, went to a competition. He runs a 6 Creed, running, I think it's 110 grain A-tip. Well, he ended up taking a 6 GT instead and ran it at the same exact velocity. He didn't have to change anything. He just ran his regular dope, his data in his ballistics, because it's the same bullet going the same velocity. So even though he switched guns and calibers, everything was the same as far as trajectory. He ran his normal dope and he won that match. So don't get really tied up in this. Bullets matter for the ballistics. All the case does as far as the shooting portion is allow you to push that bullet faster, extending your supersonic range and giving you a little bit of buffer room as far as wind. As far as the bullet itself, that's what's going to matter externally and terminally. And a lot of people, that's another thing we're going to dive into. That's a whole nother video, but terminal ballistics. That bullet is everything. I hear a lot about energy and all that, and it's a load of crap. What matters with terminal ballistics is the bullet itself. That is what dictates performance on that. And different bullets are going to give you different results. But again, that's another video. Getting back to this topic, so don't get swelled up in it. There's no one caliber that's better than the others. It really comes down to bullet selection. Can one push it faster than the other? Sure, absolutely. But as far as cases, the reloading side is a little bit different. Rimless case versus a rimmed, like the 300 Win Mag versus a PRZ. Some pressure stuff, how much neck you have to contact that bullet for velocities that you can push, shoulders, stuff like that. But end of the day, it doesn't matter what tricks you have. If they're both going the same velocity, you're getting the same results. So, don't focus so much on what caliber. Find a caliber that works for you and master it. Now, what I mean by that is with recoil sensitivity. It's a very real thing. Another thing with cartridges, and we'll get more into this in the terminal ballistic side, is, you need this minimum caliber to kill this animal. And that's a load of crap. Because again, it comes down to terminal ballistics and the bullet construction. You can use one bullet and get poor results, and use another bullet and get great results. You know, you got to understand shot placement, impact resistance, impact velocity, bullet construction, animal anatomy, etc. So it's one of those things that don't get hyped up on that. Again, that's just a marketing tool. And a lot of that, as far as you need this certain caliber for this, isn't necessarily like, again, marketing's not in the real world. It has to do with trying to prevent wounded animals because most people's lack of ability. If you doubt this, go to the range prior to hunting season and watch. You'd be amazed how terrible most shots are. And that's on a bench. So don't get caught up on that. Guides recommend, growing up in Idaho, one of my favorites is you need a 300 Win Mag minimum to take down an elk. The only reason they say that is because so many clients come out from whitetail country, don't know how to shoot long range, and end up missing or wounded and blaming the guides. So they recommend a 300. The basis being is it's something that most people can handle decently and is going to give them a little bit of flexibility as far as a bad shot, giving you a bigger temporary wound cavity. Well, does that mean that it's the minimum required? No. I don't know of a single guide that would have somebody who can't shoot with a Magnum versus somebody with a smaller caliber that knows what they're doing and can place that shot. Recoil sensitivity is a real thing. The less recoil, the better you can shoot. The better you can shoot, the more accurately you can put rounds on target. So, we'll dive into that again in real detail in the next video on terminal ballistics. But as far as the whole minimum caliber, don't worry about that as much. Just find a gun that you can use the right bullet for the right animal, and stay within the guidelines of what that bullet will perform and understand it, and you'll do great. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Again, calibers, forget about them. All those magazine articles saying, oh, this is the best caliber, or this is going to dominate, it's just marketing. They're trying to sell a product. They're trying to sell their caliber. It's all the same projectile. So quit focusing so much on the calibers and this is better than this and that. Get a caliber you like, pick the right bullet, and learn what you're doing. The next episode of this, we're going to be diving into terminal ballistics. And we're going to be, again, talking about bullets. We're going to go through a lot of the marketing stuff, the misconceptions, the bad information, showing you actual field results, showing you bullets, expanded, all that. And just dive into that and try to give you a better understanding and get rid of some of the BS that's out there. I hope this has helped, and happy hunting.